To some, IVF may seem like a blessing, a gateway to new life. But to others, IVF is a gateway into a brave new world. What is IVF, and should you be concerned? Well, that's what this video is going to explore. In ancient civilizations like Egypt, Greece, and Rome, fertility was not just a personal matter. It was a sign of favor from the gods. In these societies, infertility was often attributed to divine displeasure. To restore fertility, people turned to prayers, offerings, and rituals to false idols. During the medieval period, infertility remained shrouded in mystery. Misconceptions abounded, and women were largely held responsible. Treatments ranged from the peculiar to the downright dangerous. Animal parts, potions, and bloodletting were common. Fast forward to the 1940s, the eugenics movement gave birth to new ideas about human life, its purpose, and its value. Nazi influence inspired bold experimentation into waters that were previously uncharted.
We thought that possibly you could tell us what's wrong. I mean, so many of our friends are having children while we aren't.
The 1950s is when science fiction began to manifest itself into reality. In 1958, Anne McLaren and John Biggers published a groundbreaking paper in the journal Nature, detailing their success in growing mouse embryos in vitro, and subsequently transferring them into female mice. The following year, in 1959, Min-Chu Chang, while working at the Worcester Foundation in Massachusetts, an institution known for its role in developing modern birth control, achieved a significant breakthrough by demonstrating that fertilization in vitro could result in the birth of a live rabbit. In the 1970s, there were several attempts to successfully use IVF in humans. In 1973, Landrum Shettles made an attempt but was stopped at the last moment by his superiors because of ethical concerns. However, in 1978, the first human IVF baby was born, marking a groundbreaking moment. But this baby's birth sparked significant controversy and raised numerous ethical questions about IVF. To understand this controversy, we must first understand IVF. IVF is a complex process. The first step is retrieving eggs from a woman's ovaries, which is done with an ultrasound-guided needle. After the eggs are isolated, scientists fertilize them with sperm in a laboratory before implanting the resulting embryo into a woman's uterus. One of the most significant ethical concerns surrounding IVF is the sanctity of life. While the scientists who invented the process argue that life begins at conception, IVF often involves creating multiple embryos, many of which may not be implanted and are instead thrown in the trash or thrown into a freezer where they may never see the light. This practice raises concerns about commodifying human life, as it treats embryos as disposable entities and something that can be bought and sold, fundamentally undermining life's inherent value, dignity, and sanctity. Another ethical concern is the potential for designer babies. As genetic screening and manipulation techniques advance, there is a growing fear that IVF could be used to select for specific traits, such as intelligence, appearance, or athletic ability, leading to a form of eugenics that would provide genetic advantages to a wealthy class. Technologies like CRISPR are transforming this sci-fi idea into reality.
Molly waited a long time to join the Gibson family, about 28 years. At just over 1 month old, she's already made history simply by being born.
She knows what a miracle she is, and anybody that's around us knows as well because we're okay with sharing it.
The embryo that grew into Molly was frozen on October 14th, 1992, but she wasn't born until October 26th, 2020. According to researchers at the University of Tennessee Preston Medical Library, her birth sets a new record for the longest frozen embryo to come to birth.
According to Johns Hopkins University, there are an estimated 1.5 million frozen embryos across the United States. either stored for potential future use or left abandoned. A new movement called SnowFlake adoptions is giving these embryos a second chance. Instead of creating new embryos, couples struggling to conceive are adopting these abandoned embryos and giving them the opportunity to be born. Ultimately, the ethics of IVF challenge us to think deeply about life, about what it means to be human, and about what kind of world that we want to steward.